would be?
I get your idea, but these are giant vendors and this is a giant property. So you're looking at somebody taking their time to walk around with them so that we can ask those questions. And,
Gotcha.
yeah, if we're not, we already know they're gonna be, I'm gonna throw a figure out there, okay? I'm gonna throw a figure out. I think your next closest licensed and insured vendor is gonna be over $100,000 more. That's my figure.
For the year.
For the year.
More?
More.
Like $1.50.
Whatever you're paying now plus at least $100,000, I'm gonna say. I have never seen anyone do this for $5,000.
Okay, so how much of this can we take out of there to try and keep them close to 5?
I think we go, I think we go full bore, and then we whittle it down if we need.
Whittle it down, but how do you prioritize what you're gonna whittle down? Because what's important to you may not be important to another cluster.
Well, I mean, we all have irrigation systems.
We
How
all
many have brown
trucks.
spots and dead, whatever, because the irrigation system is not hitting it, or
Yep.
I know there's multiple
Concrete
reports of
fault.
it going into one eyes. We know that the irrigation system for several years has not been
Done.
great.
No, we know that.
In spots, it's great, in another spots, it's dead. I mean, so the irrigation system is to me, it's a very significant thing, because it's leading to dead grass, which is costing money, it's leading to dead bushes, which is costing money.
Well, that's something that's gotta be negotiated in here. Any failure to complete
Yeah.
the irrigation work in that contract
So we
that
need to
results in,
SLAs in here.
you know, is paid for by the vendor.
Yeah.
And all broken heads and everything else, cause you've got the same vendor
Right.
doing the irrigation checks as is mowing. So if
Yeah.
his guys run them over and break them, we're not paying
We're
to
not
replace
paying
them.
And same with, there's been issues with downspouts
Downspouts.
being driven over and damaged, that we've had to
Stepped on.
also place, stepped on, and, yeah. There's too much
There's a
that
lot.
isn't.
Given the.
Why don't we just see if we can get a quote off somebody else?
Just to see how bad it is,
Yeah, I mean, seriously, because if we're spending money
yeah.
and he's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, we're wasting money anyway and the work's still not getting done. I'd rather pay a little bit more, or maybe a lot more, what Janet said, but at least you know it's getting done properly.
That's not your budget, so that would be
We don't have
like a big.
$100,000.
We have to
So
scrape.
I'll-
No, I know, but it might not be $100,000,
Well, just to get an
Janet stressed it
idea.
because that's a lot.
I know,
We
that's
don't
just
know
a
that
guess.
it's gonna be $100,000 more,
No, we don't know that.
yeah.
But
I mean,
I'm
it's worth
wondering-
getting someone out to give us a quote.
Just
I
to
know
see.
two landscapers that I'll ask at the school, see if they will come and give a quote.
I'm wondering if there's any way we can push him to say that he has a minimum of 5 people on the property when they're working here.
Well, that's the thing, you need a licensed and insured company, they have to have the crew
Yeah.
to come and do this property, and no, you don't want them all over the place. You want mowing day, you want trimming day, you want,
Yep.
yeah, irrigation check
But we
day,
need to assure that they're gonna have the adequate people to do the work.
yeah.
And
But he did have it, that he's lost it now, like, since
Yeah.
now he doesn't have his crew, it's got worse.
It's got.
I mean,
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
much
so I mean,
worse.
maybe he's not going to be able to get another crew, a bigger crew anyway, so maybe it's time to just look at somebody else.
Well, it's hard to say why he doesn't have a bigger crew. Does he
I
not
think
have a
we
bigger
can all
crew
know, yeah.
because nobody
We all
wants
know
to
why
do the work, or does he not wanna pay them?
Well, we're
Yeah,
not,
I don't know,
Yeah.
yeah, we don't know,
That's
yeah.
not ours to worry about, I mean, it's his
Yeah.
business that he
That's
has
his
to try
business,
to-
yes.
Well, he's gonna have, if he wants to keep the business,
Yeah.
he's gonna have to
Mhm.
do something.
Sit down first, I guess, have a conversation with them like Janet and Laura are gonna do, and then take it from there.
So just to break down a little bit, because $100,000 sounds like, but,
Yeah.
it is a lot of money. But, if you break that down,
I'm
divide that
positive
by 6 clusters, and then divide by 12 months, that's an extra $13.89 per cluster per month.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
Yeah, it goes by all.
Yeah, that's a whole lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Money none of us budgeted for.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Divided by
Maybe like
25.
present it to
That looks like
Jesus,
how much
the whole
it's gonna
contract
go
like you guys
up.
have now, and see what he comes back at, and then we can meet again as a board and say, okay, well, maybe we take out the sprinklers and have a company that, and make each cluster responsible for their own sprinklers, something like that to cut the budget. Because sprinklers, we don't deal with every month, you know, once they're gonna be fixed and we have a company in there that knows exactly what they're doing, and they're fixed, then we can maintain them, and it shouldn't cost us all that much money unless somebody breaks one, or they, you know, need to be replaced for some other reason.
The advantage though of having the sprinklers tied into the lawn maintenance is that if the lawn maintenance people break ahead, then they're responsible for the repairs and replacements.
There's, gotcha.
Whereas if we have it as a separate contract, then how do we?
It wasn't me,
Yeah,
that's what you're gonna
I was
get.
just gonna say,
It wasn't me.
you never get anybody to admit that it's them.
Yeah, exactly.
We run into that, so
Yeah.
that's, it's kind of a moot.
Yeah, we'll get you some pricing, but I think what we do is we start with them, we start going over, Laura and I, in our conversation, first off, we need some updates to this.
yeah.
And second off, we need to go over the pricing and say that this service and point out the ones that are not being done. And if they come back and say we can't complete that in a timely fashion for this price, then we say,
How much?
what is your negotiation? What is the increase in price, or what can you not do? And then we'll bring it back to the board and talk and go from there. And if Fiona wants, let me pull that 2019 one, because that was quite a few years ago, and I suspect it's gonna be a whole lot more. If it's not outrageous back then I'll get somebody to come out here. But I'm not kidding about, I know it sounds like a lot, and Fiona probably thinks I'm kidding, but I swear to God, it's gonna be around a grand mark. I'm positive. Positive, just from my experience.
Oh, no, I believe you. I don't want to, but I do.
Yeah.
Me and Abraham are getting better.
No. Okay, is there any, so we're gonna move on with Janet and I meeting with Jesus and his interpreter to go through the contract and feedback. I know he's got feedback for us because, it sounds like he's had some challenges with owners approaching him, trying to direct what he's doing, which, we have consistently told him he's not supposed to be taking from owners. So we'll just have to reaffirm that.
Not Jesus, not Abraham,
Yeah, nope.
nobody else, not Corey. All three of them get approached by owners. Every time they're on the property, someone's telling them what to do that shouldn't be.
Yep.
Every time.
Yeah.
We're so close
In every
knit
cluster.
here. You can't get on
It
this
is.
property without knowing you're here, and
It is every.
they're always gonna do what you
Sure.
say.
Okay, so that's the plan of
Corny
attack.
landscape.
Leave Cory alone. Does anybody have, I saw Roxy, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I don't think that all the owners are truly even aware of what he's supposed to be doing and what he's not supposed to be doing. Like you mentioned, the dead shrubs, that's by cluster. The cluster has to buy those. He
Yeah.
will plant them, but it's not his responsibility to pull them out and put new ones in.
No.
That's not part of his
No,
contract.
I wouldn't want him to put a new one, I'd just tear up the old one.
Yeah,
Leave
but
it alone.
he needs work orders for all of that, and I think that we're just walking up to him. I think people are just walking up to him and asking him to do things, and it's getting overwhelming. I
Yeah.
do know his brother is back,
Oh, good.
is back working with him again, so maybe that will help. And I just wanna add, I get that you're disappointed that things haven't been done that are in that particular contract. I remember the 2 prior companies that we had before Jesus, and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
This place looked like a slum.
Yeah.
And I worked tirelessly to try to work with the plants and clean stuff up before we got Jesus, and I'm extremely nervous about going backwards, because they did not do a good job. I mean, we called that guy Lazy Joe, for crying out loud. He was horrible. And we met with him several times and couldn't get him to do anything. So I just wanna say, as an owner, please proceed with caution, because I know he's not been able to do everything we want him to do. But since I've lived here in 9 years, he's by far the best landscaper we've had on this property.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you earlier, you had something to say, right, on this topic?
It was just about the bushes, you know, I mean, they're just an eyesore, they've been dead, one of them's been dead for 2 years, you know, I mean, just pull it out, they don't have to plant a new one, just pull it out. Take about 10 minutes with a truck.
That's in 2, or it's 2 or 6? Who-
Six, he's in six.
Yeah,
Six.
cluster 6, there's at least 2 or 3 dead bushes around our building.
Yeah, and that's how I feel too, is like if you identify bushes that cannot survive, tell us and make them.
Yeah.
And, we're not getting that. So,
Well, we also have to talk about communication, because remember, I contacted them recently and said, could I please have a proposal for?
yes.
Next thing we know, the complete work is done and I've got an invoice for it.
Yeah. There's a problem there with the language barrier.
Has there been discussions with Jesus yet? Other than this, has there been in the past times where you guys have had to sit down, talk with him about the contract? See, I'm just wondering, I mean, it was the same thing. I agree with you. Jesus to me has been the best that we've had. He does come in, and when he came in and he started, he had a full-blown crew. And they went gangbusters, and little by little, things have gone by the wayside. But, you know, it's like anything else, if nobody has said and pulled him, you know, to say, hey, we're paying you for this and you're not doing this, he's just going along and doing the basics of what he can get away with without anybody saying anything. I don't think he means.
Robin is actually the director who communicates with Michael and Jesus, because she knows landscaping. I don't. And so Robin, if you wanna pipe in on anything that you've kind of communicated, that would be great. Can you hear us?
No, she's probably muted again.
Where are you?
I have.
Can you hear me?
Now
Yes,
we can, there you go.
Okay, alright, I talk to Jesus quite often with issues in my cluster, and he's very prompt to answer my emails and my texts during the day. If I find, like, I had one owner that had an issue where water was getting into her unit, I texted him and I said, can you check out the sprinkler, see what's going on, let me know the situation. He calls me that day, he went over right away, checked it out. He's like, I can't turn the head because it's gotta spray the lawn in front. I suggest putting shrubs in the front of it. He goes, what do you think? And, I mean, he communicates it really well. I don't know if it's a language barrier, but if you text him or email him, he will do whatever you ask. I asked him to remove 2 dead bushes from another unit, not a problem, he pulled them out, I never got charged for it or anything. So I'm wondering if part of it is he doesn't get all his messages, or he doesn't know who to listen to. And he did tell me that, he goes, I don't know the directors, it changes, and I don't know who I should be taking orders from, and things like that, so maybe we need to kind of clarify that with him as well, and say, okay, you know, like if one of your owners come to you guys and say, oh, these shrubs have been dead for 3 years, yeah, he probably should be pulling them out, but maybe he's like, I don't know if the director wants these pulled or not, so maybe if we communicate a little bit more with him too, I think that would help a little bit.
I've been communicating with him and I don't get a response. I finally found someone else that I could communicate with by accident.
Okay. Yeah, see, cause he responds back to me every time I send text or an
I get
email.
the same response, he responds to me all the time.
I get sporadic. Sometimes he does, sometimes he doesn't. That Asia, from who's helping to manage his financial portion, she's been contacting him for me.
Uh-huh.
And Michael.
You know, I have to ask a question. I'm curious as to whether or not Jesus understands or even knows what's in this contract.
Right.
He may not be
Probably
aware of
not.
what's in there. Considering the fact that it's from 23.
Yeah, but I mean, he should be. If this
Yes,
is
he
his
should be.
business,
Yes, he should
I
be,
mean, I
but
get it.
that doesn't necessarily mean that he is.
Okay, I get that, but
He might be relying on somebody else who isn't giving him the full details.
Yeah, that's.
But I mean, when you think about it, it's gone back all that way. Mike
Yeah.
is the one that brought him in.
Right,
Mike is the one that started with him.
right.
So the contract or whatever they talked about or whatever they did back then, by now, you know, Charlie was talking to him, Charlie's not here anymore, you know, all
How
these
many,
things have
how
happened.
many more, contracts does he have out there that may or may not be different?
Right, I
Then this
guarantee
one-
you, he probably doesn't even realize what's in there.
That's a good possibility. But, I'd like to see him stay if we can keep him.
I think we,
The goal is not to get rid of
yeah,
him.
that's
Right.
not the
Yeah.
goal, but the goal is
Right.
to at least make sure that he's doing, you know, what's in the
That's
contract.
what we need. Well,
If he
maybe-
comes back to Laura and I, and then the board approves it, that like, this much of the contract can't be done for that price.
Yeah.
That's okay if you guys agree to it, so long as we know, like, how much is it gonna cost to remove and replace the shrub? Like, if I send him a message for a proposal, you get a proposal, you can decide. If it's
Yeah.
because the irrigation was broken and nothing got watered, he's gonna pay for that, that kind of
That's
stuff.
right.
It's not that there's additional cost over and above, it's that,
But there is cost when you look at some of these things that he's supposed to be covering or taking care of at his own expense,
That's part of the
Um,
contract.
that, yeah, some of the obligations that he has through the contract, if, the clusters are willing to actually pay for some of it. Like for the
Mulch,
last,
yeah.
the last 3 years, cluster one has always paid for having new mulch put in once a year. And, it's not like it comes across as being a $50 expense, because it's not, it's a few $1,000s.
but every
They have
cluster
that-
has though.
they have
Well,
that
it's
done.
been the way
And
all
it
of the
depends on
clusters
how
have.
many clusters are actually doing it on an annual basis as to what they pay.
And
But-
cluster two doesn't have any mulch, we have rock because all of our mulch every time it rained would wash away.
Would wash
Oh,
away.
yeah. We have mulch in the back
Oh,
yard.
okay, true,
So,
true, we may
except
have some, yeah,
Except the
around the
pool,
pool.
so we
yeah.
mulch the
I
back
mean,
and
our-
then rock.
As cluster one, to maintain the appearance of our cluster, if we had our arms twisted behind our back and we were forced to have to pay that, you know, $2,500 or whatever the hell it costs me every year, if we are willing to continue to pay that, that is something that is in this contract that cluster one would consider the cost of doing business, I guess is what I would have to call that. But other clusters may not be able to pay that on an annual basis to keep the property looking good. Cause it makes a heck of a big difference to have that mulch replaced annually. A heck of a big difference. So,
It also preserves your plants and the roots and things.
And
Yes,
our,
it
and
does.
the building structure, it's important to the building as well, because
Right.
what's been explained to us is that if you don't have mulch and you've got a water issue, there's been water intrusion reports because there hasn't been mulch. So
we're gonna
it is-
approve one of them tonight.
Yeah, it's very important that it be done,
yep.
but there's confusion because what's here versus what's,
Well, if I recall, every one of us have mulch in our,
except for
as a
cluster
budget
two
line.
for the most part,
in
yeah,
our, in your budgets,
yeah.
you know.
It's underground. You know how to keep them down into the ground.
Well, some of it, that's what I was just gonna say, some of it is now needs dirt buildup next to the building before you can put mulch on top of it.
Yeah.
To give you an idea, you talked about, what did you say the price was additional, like 1,300 a month
Yeah,
for
13.99.
an extra 100?
Yeah, 1,389.
Yeah.
So at Robbins, one of these slab repairs around the building, because the ground has eroded, was $2,400.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
That's one
that was two, that's an end unit now, cause you just had one done also, but yours was the one side. Do you remember what yours was? I don't recall off the top of my head.
Mine?
Yeah,
No, I don't remember what it was.
I don't know if I
Yeah.
even would've sent you the bill for any reason, we just paid it, but yeah. But this was an end unit.
Yep.
Gary.
got a notification, from our place in Minnesota, and, they're talking about the landscaping company that, they are worried that they're gonna be down on people. And reasoning because what's going on with ISIS and all that. And he said that they have done all their work, their paperwork to verify that these people are meeting the standards. But they still don't know when those people are not gonna be showing up for work because they're afraid. So
Well, because they've been hauled away.
Jesus his people have gone down, and it's been in the last few months. So we're gonna have to look at that when we start thinking about changing.
Yeah.
Well, that, you see that actually with a lot of the, not that they're illegal aliens, I don't
No.
mean to say that, but a lot of the larger companies, because they used to have the agreement, right? So then, there was that I can't remember, I'm gonna make up words, but there was that, like, an agreement where, laborers could come from Mexico for months, and for the summer months, and they could get all these landscape jobs and all, and they can't do that anymore, so. Yeah, I don't know what it was, but like the big ones, the big companies all infused their business with those laborers, and they can't now, so.
And the second thing is that if you're looking for Jesus to do more, what about the Abrahams? And, okay, if you're walking down the sidewalk, there's a paper bag or plastic bag behind the bush. Week later, that bag is still there. 2 weeks later, that bag is still there. Whose responsibility is it, besides the homeowner, to take and grab that bag and pick it up?
Your maintenance person?
That would be Abraham's responsibility.
You know, but does Abraham understand that? This is,
I
and,
think he does.
Well, we're not gonna get into Abraham
not
today.
gonna
We
get
got-
into
yeah.
Abraham.
but I mean, okay.
That's an employee matter anyway.
Can I say something?
Not about Abraham.
No, no, I won't.
Okay.
But I have spent a lot of time with both of these guys and have been here for a very long time. I think one of the things that happens is there is, there's sometimes the language thing, but there also is from board to board and from different times, there is procedure, miscommunication of how things were done and are being done or whatever. It used to be the way it was, and the way Jesus understood it is that anything that happened in the clusters, that everything came directly from the director. Even if it was something that needed to be done, nothing was touched unless the director told him. In other words, if a plant needed to be taken out and put in or whatever, that came directly from the director. Over the years, I've talked to him and I said, yeah, but if you see something, you can't leave a thing, a old bush just sitting there. You have to communicate. He said, well, I understand that we did that when we first came in and it was great, but everybody was here. The directors are not here anymore, it's a lot harder for me. And I said, why is that? He said, well, because especially now, I'm having to do, because I don't have people, I'm having to also work. And then I have to email them, and I'm trying to work, and, so that's a little bit of his so-called a little problem. It's not a major problem that can happen, because obviously it's showing in the fact of how he's communicating with, or can communicate with, Robin. So if he can do it with Robin, then obviously he can do it, or maybe that's the case though, he can do it pretty good at a certain time, but he's got 6 clusters and then Jen, so that's a lot. You're trying to get something done on the property.
When Robin was talking, what concerned me was, if she calls him and he goes right over to check somebody's spraying lanai, what was he doing and what cluster was he in when he left that job to go check the lanai? That's why I think that everything should go through work orders, a single person. If it's gonna be Robin, that's fine, but it has to be one person. Because in helping Robin is pulling him away from whatever it was he was on site doing.
Right, but
And that's part of the issue.
right, and when he was doing really well, and when he was here at the beginning, is one, we understand, he had more people, but also, he was free, he was not a worker. So he was a manager. He was a
Right.
manager, and he was going and checking the sprinklers. He was going and overseeing their work and making sure that it wasn't done and hacked and whatever.
We can only deal with what he's doing now, we can't look in the
Exactly.
past, so.
And it's his company to manage,
The
too,
other
you know,
thing-
it's not on, it's not
No,
on
I
us to sit
understand, I
here.
just wanted to explain.
Yep.
The other issue is, the sprinklers and the palm trees, we've done differently in each, board, differently in each board, depending on what we've had. We did, one time we had a guy that was, the maintenance guy that could do it. He had the degree, he had the license. And we also had a, palm tree company, because, you know, our palm trees are getting hacked.
We
Just
also
the same,
did.
what?
The thing I wanted to interject there is that we did until we
Right.
had this.
Right. And what's happened is that just like we complain sometimes about the bushes, he's kinda hacked our palm trees and hacked our bushes. Now, when we first hired him, he didn't use the saw on all the bushes. The best thing we told Michael was that he did a lot of trimming.
Hand trimming.
Yes, a lot of hand trimming, and did not use the saws on everything. And that's why a lot of stuff looked much better at that time. And I think those types of things, I think, are very important to bring to memory, out of things.
Alright.
Since there's not a contract in place, are we still getting insurance and license and certification from him?
Yeah, I'm in contact with his management company, we don't have a signed contract.
Yeah.
He does, cause we signed ours,
Yeah,
but they have not shared a deck with us.
and we've asked.
They don't know that we have the empty one though, so they may be delaying, thinking they're going to take some stuff
I
out.
think they do know. Don't they know that we have, because this all came up because I found the contract on our website. And we asked, like, I think Roxy, you had reached out to see if we could get an updated version of it, right? Or the final executed contract, and you were told, oh no, it's a month to month, there's no actually executed contract, right?
For the fence?
No, for the
No, for
landscaping,
landscaping.
like you had asked to get an
That was
executed
me,
version.
Laura.
Was you,
Robin
okay,
did.
sorry. I'm so used to
I
asking
was
Roxy.
gonna say, Roxy does so much.
It's always, I'm like, Roxy.
And
Um,
me.
Yeah, but I mean, all this to say is like, my goal is not to get rid of Jesus because I genuinely do like him. I think he does a great job. But I do have concerns about the fact that we don't have a contract that's executed. In my opinion, we need to have that. If we're gonna be paying $60,000 a year. So we absolutely need to have a contract that has service level agreements, what is included and what is not. So we can go back and say, okay, well, we've been paying, say, last time $1,800 for mulch, but that's supposed to be in the contract. So that also, I think, acts as a better guide for him, so he knows what he can and cannot bill us for. Because without it, he can bill us for everything, that's not just the regular $5,000 a month.
Yes.
So,
Can I move that we table this
Yeah.
discussion until we get a,
Yep.
another, a revised contract
Yeah.
and actually had discussions with him?
Yeah.
And move this along, please.
I don't know, we haven't scheduled it yet.
Laura,
Yes.
just
quick,
last thing,
very
no, it's
quick,
very
yeah.
quick, very quick. The last thing I think it's important for us to have is an actual schedule for him. When he's cutting the bushes, you know, the clusters, what day he does the
Scheduling
mowing,
services. Okay.
when he does the palm
All right.
trees,
Okay,
all of
we got
that.
it.
Yep.
All right. Next item is consideration of additional parking spot markings. Tricia, this one's yours.
I just noticed like along 59th Street where
You'll have to speak.
cluster 5 is located, all empty spots, not labeled at all. So it's confusing because they were once visitor spots and now they're blacked out and they're nothing.
Don't you have 2 visitor spots on anchoring that 59th section. Like there's two on the very end and then the middle ones are unmarked.
And then there's all those that don't have anything on it.
Right,
Yes.
right.
So can they be labeled resident?
No, they're just the unmarked spots.
Right, so people that come in they see unmarked spots as, that's where you park. I almost got towed right before I became an owner, parking right here, cause it's an unmarked spot, that tells me nothing as an outsider.
$8 a spot.
It's what?
$8 a spot.
Well, at least along that line where they're not being occupied.
Right, but I thought we did that as unmarked spots to make sure that any overflow from any of the other clusters
No,
could
we all
park
know that.
along there.
We all know that.
Right, but if
You have
we-
somebody come in and they're like, oh, I'm not gonna park in that spot because it's numbered, obviously someone's, and I'm not gonna park in the visitors because there isn't any, because there's only those 2 spots. And then there's all these unmarked spots, that's where they're gonna park.
Well, they were visitor, but we
They-
unvisited.
That's why they're black.
Right.
They're
So
blacked out.
maybe having a few more visitor spots there, opposed to just 2, because it's empty all the time.
Why did we do that?
We did that because the number of units in this community that have 2 cars far outnumbers
The
the
number,
parking spots available.
And
So we had, we had like 40 visitor spots on the property. And when we did an analysis, I believe we had, 83, we needed 87 parking spots and we had 63. So we changed it to accommodate, to make it, so our residents had parking, which is also why we added parking along the entrance and then along Manning.
she's being nice.
But if they're not
I am being, I'm not.
What happened was, we started towing owners who were taking up a visitor spot. We started towing them. Because
they weren't
visitors
visitors.
couldn't have a visitor spot.
Right.
And some of the,
Previous board.
previous board
Right,
from your area
yes.
didn't like that, and so said, fine, then paint them all black. They're not visitor spots anymore.
But it was like.
Then my owners can park where they want.
But it was like, we went from, 10 spots that were, and now to 2.
So then now.
And all these other spots are blank and nobody's over there. I'm sorry, I don't go out much at night to see, but I find it very difficult to believe that somebody in cluster 2 or somebody in cluster 6 is gonna park way over there
Well-
at 59. They don't.
So we just need to add a few extra, and is it $8,
That
$8?
was
For
actually,
visitors?
it was
Yes.
carved out by Q, with monthly mark.
I know, that's what I'm saying. It was the previous director, so what do you want over there?
I wanna fix it.
You want all the ones that were marked out back to visitor, or do you wanna let me know which ones?
All of them.
I
Okay.
think maybe, before we do this, before we make any changes, I do believe that we have to do another analysis of how many 2-car units we have here versus how many available parking spots are. First and foremost, we have to make sure our residents have parking. So, I guess I'll do that again.
While we're on the subject of marking parking spots, if we're going to be marking spots anyway, can we do an analysis of, some of the spots, like where I typically park my car is like right on the corner of cluster 2 going around the backside along the fence. And, that spot for years, said compact car on it because that lane is narrow and they've removed that compact car and I can't tell you how many times I've come in and there's been like a big, long, extra extended cab
Yeah.
truck parked there and that's gonna be hindering emergency vehicles, anything else that we might need to come through. So if we go back and make analysis of the spots that truly should be compact car or, not anything extended cab and add those to the list of, spot markings. Whether we mark them as visitor, resident, whatever, but compact car.
All right, I'll pull it tomorrow from Comto, Laura, because then maybe I can tell which ones are owner and tenant. So,
I just did based on vehicle list. The report that's available to us is vehicle list, so I just went through and marked.
yeah, but sometimes if there's an owner who's only renting to a tenant with one, I don't bother to take the owner out of my system, yeah. Just because I gotta put it back in there again anyway, so I just leave it in there. So let me pull vehicle report from Comto. and I'll get a copy for everybody. Cause it's about time I compared my list again
Well,
anyway.
here, okay, I actually have the analysis that I did last year. 83 total two household vehicles. We had 69 unmarked spots on the property. So we were running a very significant deficit, which is why, it went to what it was. And cluster 5 at the time had 13 unmarked spot and 15 visitor spots. And you had 16 two-vehicle households. So, yeah.
So maybe that's it, we'll do it by cluster.
Yeah, I mean, and we moved them around as well to make it make more sense, so visitor spots anchored the stretch. And the way that it was marked out on 59 was actually Charlie had, advised how he wanted it done, and that's what we did, so, we'll look at that again.
I said to us being nice, and I knew it.
But we'll look at that.
Yeah, we'll pull it again and send it out.
All right, next item is termite tenting
Termite
bids
tenting.
for cluster 2.
So did you all look at what,
Yeah,
what Jerry did?
Yep.
yeah.
So, initially, until I asked Janet to, get the pest guard to verify what the warranty deal was.
Warranty.
Yeah, EXTWR is extended warranty.
I was like,
Because originally it just said that after the first year that the rate adjustment, so I'm like, but for how long? Because the other two companies had, 4-year max. Pest guard, for me, I like the fact that it's not a subcontractor, so we're dealing with the company, with their people. It is the most expensive upfront cost, but it also is the only one that will allow us to do the extended warranty in perpetuity. The response we got back was they've got clients that have had an extended warranty for over 20 years, that they just renew it every year and have done it for over 20 years. We last tented cluster 2 in 2018, so that's been 8 years ago. Yeah, I mean, if, so 4-year max extended warranty is not gonna help us if we're trying to avoid having to pay that huge tenting bill again. If anybody cluster 2, I printed extra copies, if anybody cluster 2 wants to see that analysis of the 3, I even broke down, the answer we got back from Janet on the extended warranty was that rate that they had given us is for the first 3 years. So we're covered for the first, so we're covered for 2026 until our, until that first year under the 1-year warranty. Then for 3 years after that, we're looking at $5,010 a year. Then after that so after year 4, that's when the rate would be adjusted.
Could. I was gonna say, is there a limit?
No.
Is there
That
a limit for the adjustment after the 3 years? Does it can't exceed 5%?
They didn't say that.
I would throw that in.
So that might be
If
something
you decide to go
that we wanna double check on. Yeah, so
It's
just,
not something we're signing right now, so.
yeah, so I mean, you look at looking at the numbers, I mean, yes, initially, they're the most expensive, but if we can have that in perpetuity warranty, I mean, right, for the first 3 years, it's gonna be, $13 a month per unit, per unit per month for us to have that extended warranty.
It's only 150 over the best arm.
Yeah, I mean, it's most expensive, but it's really not, significantly more expensive. The pest armor, I couldn't see in their contract whether they said if they did subcontractors or not. They were the next lowest, but again, you're looking at a 4-year max for the extended warranty. So, I mean, the thing is that, I'm not gonna be on the board forever, as long as I'm on the board, you know, that, I'll make sure that that's something that's budgeted in, but that's something that as owners, we're gonna have to make sure that we, you know, say, you know, we wanna continue with this warranty next year, if that's what we're gonna do. And the idea is that, to try and avoid this huge tenting bill again, I mean, that's my thought on it. It is, but at the same time, I mean, yeah, so is supporting, so is for what else?
Nance, you gotta speak up, cause the other board members can't hear you.
No, I'm just talking to myself
So
on
it's
that
a lot of
one.
money.
But,
Do we
I
know,
mean, no, not yet.
Not yet. Do any of you have questions? Do any of you wanna see these? I said I wasn't printing them for everybody. I could have printed these. I didn't realize there was only one that was 67 pages long. The others are not so bad. No, it's not 67, it's just a lot.
That's a lot.
That's why I'm looking at it.
Yeah. But they're here. You guys wanted to take a look, but Jerry did
I
really
mean,
good.
Jerry did an analysis, like,
Yeah.
I mean, you're the one who dug into the contract, so I feel like you have a better understanding of what's here than.
Yeah, I mean, essentially, all three contracts is, as far as like services, are the same. The difference is, you know, your price, whether they're subcontracted out.